If you are a fan of ancient history, then get ready to be utterly amazed by this collection of the most valuable artifacts of ancient Egypt. This includes the incontestable Egyptian Rosetta Stone, worth $12 million, the stone bust of Tutankhamun, worth $4.2 million, and many other interesting artifacts. Today, in this video, we will talk about some of the most dazzling and valuable artifacts that will blow your mind. We will also uncover the histories, discoveries, and also controversies that surround them. Stay connected so that you don't miss any of them. What do you think is the worth of this crafted wooden chair? It's worth $3 million. Shocked? This wooden throne belongs to the pharaoh Tutankhamun, also known as the Boy King. Tutankhamun was the last king of the 18th Egyptian dynasty. The throne of Tutankhamun has an estimated value of $3 million. You could buy two Aris Line X10 office chairs worth $1.5 million, designed by Pininfarina, the Italian design studio which designs products for supercars like Ferrari ENZO and Maserati Granturismo. It is a rare and valuable treasure due to its magnificence and superb craftsmanship. The colors haven't faded even though over 3,000 years have passed. This demonstrates the expertise and skills of the ancient Egyptian craftsmen. In 1922, his tomb was discovered with around 5,000 artifacts by Howard Carter. The tomb of Tutankhamun was found in the Valley of Kings near Thebes in Egypt. It was one of the most expensive tombs ever discovered. Out of these antique treasures, Tutankhamun's golden throne stands out. It was more than just a wooden chair, as it depicted a remarkable symbolic value. It was made of wood and covered with gold leafing, silver, glass, and semi-precious gemstones. The legs of this throne simulated lion claws and heads of lions at the top. The armrests showed symbols of double-crowned cobras depicting the unification of Upper Egypt and Lower Egypt. The back of the throne showcased Tutankhamun's personal life. It featured Tutankhamun and his wife, Ankhesenamun, sitting and enjoying personal care by his wife. Colored glass and precious stones gleamed against a gold backdrop, and the seat was embellished with vibrant glass pieces that resembled a Byzantine mosaic. It seemed that the artisan had taken care of minute details and had even crafted golden bracelets on the feet of Tutankhamun and his wife at the back of the seat. These bracelets were considered a sign of marriage in ancient Egypt. The next valuable treasure from ancient Egypt is a wooden coffin. This coffin fetched a heavy price of $3.5 million at an auction in 2019 at Christie's Gallery, New York. That's 15 times the price of the most expensive Malaysian 14-karat gold coffin valued at $217,000. The sarcophagus of an Egyptian named Tutankhamun is beautifully painted with brilliantly colored iconography and is one of the best examples of art from ancient Egypt. This coffin consisted of the paintings and sculptures that were previously decorated on the walls of tombs. It was beautifully crafted and covered every surface of the coffin. The coffin had feminine characteristics that implied that it belonged to a woman and was then reused. The craftsman changed to match the body of a newly dead male by adding a beard. Egyptian god Ra and Osiris were crafted on this coffin along with hieroglyphs on the lid. The inscription on the coffin bowl included not only the name of Tutankhamun, but also his family tree. Moreover, the coffin was adorned with afterlife motifs. Not only the outer parts, but the inside of the coffin was also beautifully decorated with large images of Osiris Padituamun meeting the gods in the afterlife. This coffin was one of the most intricately detailed antiques depicting Egyptian funeral art. How much do you think would be the value of this statue? This statue is for Sekhmet, the goddess of warfare and healing. In 2015, this statue was sold for an amazing price of $4.2 million at an auction held at Sotheby's Gallery in New York. The statue of Sekhmet was one of the 600 statues built by Amenhotep III lined up in the passage of his mortuary temple in Thebes, Egypt. The goddess Sekhmet statue was 2 meters tall, cut out of a single piece of graphite. This statue depicts her calm demeanor on her simple throne. The statue of Sekhmet sits elegantly, laying one hand on her lap and the other hand holding the amulet. Her face depicts her as a lioness. The statue represented the technical prowess of the ancient Egyptian sculptors. In the beginning, we told you about the broken head of a statue. The most amazing thing about this statue is that it fetched an astonishing $6.3 million in an auction. Yes, that is a lot of money for just a stone head. With that much money, you could buy 2 Lamborghini SIAN'S, the rarest Lamborghini in the world, worth $3.2 million. The statue's head belonged to Pharaoh Tutankhamun, the same Tutankhamun whose throne we spoke about earlier. The main reason for this statue to fetch this big price was its resemblance with the Egyptian god Amun, who is considered to be the king of gods. Tutankhamun was the most well-known of the Egyptian pharaohs because of his spectacular tomb found in 1922 by Howard Carter. He reigned barely for a decade and was afflicted by severe illness. He was indulged in the restoration of religion after his father's disintegration. Tutankhamun associated himself with Amun, one of the most significant deities in the Egyptian pantheon. This young pharaoh outlined his association by depicting himself to Amun, making new statues of Amun that resembled him, and by building a temple. Several Amun sculptures that resemble Tutankhamun have been discovered during excavation. In 2019, this statue of Tutankhamun with Amun's crown was sold for $6.3 million at Christie's Gallery in New York. Moving forward, the next on the list is the Egyptian Book of the Dead. The estimated worth of this book is $7 million. This artifact is one of the controversial artifacts of ancient Egypt currently placed at the British Museum. In 1888, the Egyptian Book of the Dead was discovered by Sir E.A. Wallis Budge and taken to the British Museum. The Egyptian government has been asking back for this book to the British Museum for years, but they have been denied. It is obvious because of its value and also the 3,000 years of history connected to it. The Book of the Dead is an ancient Egyptian collection of funerary writings composed of magic spells. These inscriptions were put in tombs of Egyptian pharaohs to protect and help them in the afterlife. The book consists of coffin heliographs from 2000 BC and pyramid heliographs from 2400 BC. It was gathered and formatted in a book during the 16th century BC. One of the most valuable and perfectly crafted artifacts of ancient Egypt was the bust of Nefertiti. This artifact is worth $6.5 million, which is equal to the price of Peter Lick's famous photograph, Phantom, which was sold at $6.5 million. The reason for such a high price was the perfection of this sculpture. Nefertiti was the wife of the famous Egyptian pharaoh Akhenaten. This bust was made from a single piece of limestone and weighed 45 pounds. The queen is accurately depicted in this image, which makes it outstanding. Even after 3,000 years, the bust of Nefertiti was in surprisingly good condition. The limestone structure is covered with gypsum plaster and then painted to perfectly portray each part of Nefertiti's face. The sculptor paid great attention to details and has amazingly portrayed her dark complexion, lips, jewels, and crown. The eyes of this bust were fixed with beeswax and decorated with jewels. Similar to the Book of the Dead, the bust of Nefertiti is also a controversial artifact. The bust of Nefertiti was unearthed by German archaeologist Ludwig Borchardt during the 1912 Egyptian excavation. This artifact is currently displayed at a museum in Berlin. Borchardt lied to Egyptian officials about the bust of Nefertiti to secretly take away this most valuable treasure. The Egyptian Supreme Council of Antiquities has repeatedly requested Germany to return the bust or allow it to be temporarily sent to Egypt for exhibition. The next on the list is the statue of Cleopatra VII. Being a rare and beautifully crafted statue, this statue is estimated to be worth around $6.7 million. This equates to the value of the Hawaiian war god statue recently bought by Mark Benioff. It is one of the 7 known sculptures of Cleopatra VII. She was of Macedonian origin and also an Egyptian pharaoh. Cleopatra is one of the most controversial rulers, known for her affair with Julius Caesar and later with Mark Antony. She assassinated numerous relatives. The amazing thing about the statue is that her face was carved in the Greco-Roman style. The triple snake structure, which is an emblem of supreme power, was sculpted on Cleopatra's forehead. This makes the statue the most extravagant. During excavation, the ankles were destroyed and were later restored. Another artifact of Tutankhamun was his death mask. This death mask was made of 23-karat solid gold containing more than 20 pounds of gold. This mask is currently displayed at Egyptian Museum in Cairo. It was around 1.8 feet tall and was decorated with precious stones. It was valued at $4.8 million, which is even higher than the most expensive photograph Rhine II, worth $4.3 million, by a German photographer. The death mask of Tutankhamun was a masterpiece of Egyptian art. The mask rested directly on the body of the king covered in the coffin. Tutankhamun has the honor of having the most valuable treasures. The second artifact is also from his tomb. This coffin is worth around $10 million, which is equal to the value of the most expensive jacket by FERRARI Gray with 460 carats of diamonds and made out of black python leather. Quite astonishing. What makes it the most valuable is the composition of the coffin. A mummy-shaped coffin constructed out of pure gold. It weighs around 110 kilograms. The gold price in the modern day would be equal to $5.7 million. The image of Tutankhamun was sculpted on this coffin and made it the most unique coffin ever made in the world. It was discovered inside the middle casket wrapped in linen and is currently exhibited in the Egyptian Museum. And here is the finalist from the list of the most valuable artifacts of ancient Egypt, the Rosetta Stone. It has been one of the most controversial items. This stone is valued at a hefty price of $12 million, which is 4 times the price of jadeite rock, which has an estimated value of $3 million. The Rosetta Stone is worth so much because of the Egyptian heliographs engraved on it that helped the archaeologists to understand the old Egyptian sign language and uncover history written at most of the Egyptian temples and palaces. The Rosetta Stone is a granodiorite stele inscribed in 3 different languages made during the reign of King Ptolemy V. The top and center texts are written in hieroglyphics, and the bottom text is written in ancient Greek. During the Napoleonic campaign in Egypt, French commander Francois Bouchard found this Rosetta Stone. After the French lost the war against the British in 1801, the stone was taken to London by the Britishers. Since 1802, it has been exhibited at the British Museum. Since 2003, Egypt's Supreme Council of Antiquities has repeatedly called for the reparation of the Rosetta Stone to the British Museum, as it is one of the vital pieces of Egypt's cultural heritage. The British administration has denied the claim of reparation as it was acquired during the war. It is obvious because of the worth of the stone, and secondly, it brings in millions of dollars in revenue for the British Museum. Hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe to our channel for more historical facts and check out this next video on screen now.